All right, guys. Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Hansen with the Nicole Hansen Group, and this is Javier.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
He is one of our team members, and today we're just going to shoot a video kind of introducing Javier and letting you guys know a little bit about him. Okay?
Perfect. So yes, my name is Javier 𝗙𝗲𝗀𝗁. I'm actually Guatemalan, so it's one of the things background about me. I speak Spanish. I'm a Spanish-speaking realtor. I've been doing real estate for about, I want to say I'm going on 5 years now. Started in 2020, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, COVID crazy, huh?
Exactly. So that was just pretty the funniest thing. I was working in the car dealerships at that time, and I decided in the beginning of March, right before the pandemic was actually official, to be like, hey, I got my license. Let me just go ahead and quit my job and go sell houses. And not even a week later, that's when they started the pandemic. So everything got shut down. I'm learning from home. I'm doing virtual tours from home. So that was my first year.
We were like, what did they call it? We were like required to still be able to work.
Essential workers.
Essential workers.
Essential workers, yes.
Because people do need to, they have babies, they get divorced, they have to move houses, medical stuff, like whatever.
I remember the whole 6 feet, you would go to the showing with one person only. And then that would depend on the seller.
Yeah.
So a lot of times if the seller didn't want someone there, it would just be limited to how many people there, so no kids would be able to go. And if there was kids in the house, a lot of times you had to do the virtual tours online. And that was definitely, for me, it being my first time.
That was a crash course.
Yeah,
being an agent, huh?
Literally could not have gone any easier for me at all.
So why did you become an agent? It sounds like you became an agent at the craziest time in real estate. What made you want to do that?
So it's crazy. I've always wanted to be an agent. I've always wanted to sell houses because I've always been in sales. So my biggest thing was I want to sell the biggest ticket out there, right? The biggest item you could sell, which is a house. I just told myself if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. I'll always tell myself next year. And not realizing that the pandemic was coming around, not realizing that we were going to be stuck at home, and me probably keeping my job at that point would have been better because I would have had a steady check versus trying to figure out how to get a check. But I've always wanted to do it since I was 18, 19. And when I was in my younger years of those time, I was always told that, and it was probably bad, but I was always told that I have to be prepared for it. So I never felt prepared to sell a house, to go into the real estate business. And then I just took the leap. And then it was funny because a week later, the pandemic hit. I couldn't go back to my old job because I already had quit. So it was one of those that I was like, well, here we are. And I had to go ahead and do it.
Whoops. I think when you probably first started, you had zero clue as to how crazy things could actually get.
Yeah, and especially at that time, people were only buying because they had to buy.
Yeah.
So those weren't the type of picky buyers or the type that were, hey, I want this, and that, and knew what they wanted and didn't budge from it. At that time, I felt like those were people that really needed a home, needed to find something that fit, and they had very minimum criterias. So to me, I was able to easily catch on and be able to help, but then of course at the same time, any training was all done virtual. I couldn't go into the office and learn anything.
Yeah.
So definitely was one of those things that, like you said, crash course. So you learn right away, fast, here's what it is, bam, bam, bam. And then all these stress and the issues kept hitting me until the point where I'm like, is this how it is? You're constantly trying to overcome some obstacle.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's why I like this job, because it's never the same.
With immigrant parents, they've always worked, always had to work, and it was because they had to provide for me and my siblings. And so for me, it's always been one of those things that I want to be able to have the ability to not just have to work, but also be able to be there for my kids, be involved with them, be able to be a part of their, and we're not talking about seeing them at night. I mean, that's usual, but I'm talking about being able to show up to their assemblies or their sport events, or be able to, take them to do things during the day and not always at night, or wait for a weekend where I'm free. So that was one of the biggest things for me too, was definitely having a work-life balance.
What do you like the most about real estate, and why would a buyer or seller choose you to help them with their home?
So my biggest thing that I love about real estate is not opening the doors and looking at all these different fancy houses, but being able to know that I'm helping someone find something that they're going to truly love to sleep in every night.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest deal, right? To me, it's never been, and I tell this to so many of my clients, as I'm sure they'll be a test of this. I've told them, look, I'm not the one paying your mortgage. So at the end of the day, whatever price point you want to buy is your business. But I want you to buy something that you're happy with, something that you'll be happy coming home to. And that's always been one of my key things, is always working on that. So when I get to learn my clients, you know, I get to understand what is it the things they want and what are some of the things that I'm like, okay, you can do without that. It's not really a necessity.
There's always a compromise in buying a home. Like you think you're going to go in, you're going to get X, Y, Z, and there's always some sort of compromise. I'm building a new house, and I had to compromise on a new house. So
and that's that you're building it your way. So that explains that a lot. But that's definitely one of my biggest things is being able to build those relationships with these clients. And then some of them have became friends. I have friends that from them buying with me and not knowing me, and we're looking at houses to growing to an actual relationship where we hang out sometimes, we go to each other's kids parties, things like that. So building relationships as well. So that has always been one of the things about that. And me personally, I don't try to always push a house onto anybody. I'm not the type that I'm like, hey, you know what? We've seen 5 houses. This is the one. Take it right now. You gotta take it. You gotta take it. I'm always one of those. I'm like, all right, this is what we looked at. Let's compare. Let's contrast. And we go over the things like that of what this one had versus this one had to make sure that they're making the best decision that fits right for them. Not for me, not for the dollar price. You know, it's always about what fits them and makes them happy.
What areas do you service?
So I actually am all over both Illinois and Indiana. I am a licensed realtor. I work a lot with the south side of Illinois, mainly from, I want to say downtown and down all the way to about as far as Crete. And then of course I go out towards west, towards like Frankfort, things like that. And then as well as I cover Northwest Indiana and Porter counties. So basically anywhere from Whiting to Portage, Michigan City, down all the way to Valpo. Lowell, things like that. So I'm pretty big, you know, I kind of say I draw a big circle and I'm kind of in that area. I like to be able to be in that area. And a lot of times people are like, wow, you drive so far. And I'm like, I do, but I love what I do. So at the end of the day, the drive doesn't really bother me as much as most people would think.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like, it's a people business. If you don't like people, you should, definitely not be in this business.
Correct.
It's not going to work. But overall, I think that's the end of our first interview. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care. Appreciate you.